Ladies and gentlemen, Saudi Arabia has been betrayed. Not by its enemies, not by Iran, not by Israel. Saudi Arabia has been betrayed by one country trusted more than any other on earth. This country is none other than Pakistan. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia signed a defense pact last year, meaning if one country is attacked, the other will defend it. Iran has unleashed retaliatory strikes on oil and gas facilities across Saudi Arabia. Pakistan's response in Iran war is very slow and restrained. Growing frustration in Saudi Arabia over Pakistan. Despite treaty commitment, Islamabad avoids direct military role in Iran. For 50 years, Saudi Arabia funded Pakistan's nuclear weapons program. They gave Pakistan free oil when the world sanctioned them. And they also deposited billions into Pakistan's central bank every time they went bankrupt. And in return, Pakistan promised one thing. If anyone ever attacks Saudi Arabia, Pakistan will send its army and save Saudi Arabia. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia promising to stand shoulder to shoulder in any future war. There's a strategic military agreement, one that also encompasses Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. Saudi Arabia to stand by Pakistan, providing both economic support and oil. But you know what? Every day since 1st of March, Iran has been pouring missiles on Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan has done nothing. By the way, today Pakistan needs Saudi Arabia more than ever, because Saudi Arabia can practically write a check and fix Pakistan's poor condition in a jiffy. But even then, Pakistan chose to betray Saudi Arabia, and this has upset the king of Saudi Arabia himself. The question is, why was the Saudi-Pakistan relationship so special for 50 long years? Why has a super rich country like Saudi Arabia remained dependent on a poor country like Pakistan for its protection? And lastly, when Pakistan is so poor, why are they betraying the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia when it could practically get billions to save its economy? This is a story that dates back to 1974. Back then, Saudi was making so much money that it was beyond anybody's imagination. They were pumping out 9.5 million barrels of oil every single day, which practically made them 1 billion a day in today's money every single day. And Saudi Arabia used this money to import so aggressively that there were 220 ships waiting in line outside the port of Jeddah. And this line of ships stretched 30 miles into the sea. And because of this mind-boggling cash, traders from all around the world desperately tried to sell to Saudi Arabia. The gold rush was so mad that an American businessman literally sold raincoats to people living in a desert where it doesn't rain at all. And as always, when you make too much money, you invite too many threats and you need a lot of protection. So Saudi Arabia bought weapons. So many weapons that they bought more weapons from the US than Israel, Australia, UK, and all other countries combined. And a large part of this protection went to the Mecca and Medina, where two of the holiest mosques of Islam existed. But you know what? Even with all the money and weapons in the world, Saudi Arabia still needed Pakistan to protect its kingdom. The question is why? Well, firstly, in February 1979, after the Islamic Revolution picked up in Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini took power, and as took power, he started targeting Saudi Arabia. He claimed that the Saudi rulers were fake believers of Islam who shouldn't control Mecca, and he urged the Muslims to liberate it. Why? Because he believed that the Saudi royals were puppets of America, who were corrupting Islam with modern Western values. And as it turns out, Saudi Arabia's own citizens answered Khomeini's call. And this call was answered so well that on 20th of November 1979, when 100,000 worshippers gathered for morning prayers at the Grand Mosque, a group of militants chained the gates shut. They placed snipers in every corner, cut all the telephone lines, and took tens of thousands of worshippers hostage. November 20th, 1979 at 5:30 in the morning. Within minutes, these men transformed the Grand Mosque into a fortress. This is the beginning of the siege of Mecca. Shake Saudi Arabia to its foundations, destabilize the Middle East, and push the global balance of power to the brink of collapse. And when the news broke out, Comey went on Iranian radio and blamed America and Israel for this invasion. Now, do you understand the stakes? The Saudi king's official title is custodian of the two holy mosques. Their entire legitimacy, their entire reason for being kings comes from protecting Islam's holiest sites. So if a bunch of rebels could snatch it away from the kingdom, it was an embarrassment for the royal family. And this rebellion was so horrific that 255 people were killed. 560 were wounded, 127 military personnel died, and it took the kingdom 2 weeks to secure the mosque. And lastly, just when the king thought everything was settled, exactly 3 weeks after the siege ended, Soviet tanks rolled into Afghanistan in December 1979. And now, if you look at Saudi Arabia on the map, you will see the threat to the kingdom. You see, the trillion-dollar oil well of Saudi Arabia was surrounded by Soviet allies. South Yemen was occupied with Soviet bases. In the west, Ethiopia was a Soviet-aligned country. In the north, Soviet-allied Syria and Iraq had 150,000 troops stationed. And in the east, the Soviet Red Army physically occupied Afghanistan. To make it worse, in the Indian Ocean, many Soviet naval vessels were already circling the Indian Ocean. And you know what? Even though Saudi Arabia had the best American weapons in the world, they were still terrified. You know why? Because even though they had all the weapons in the world, they did not have enough men to operate them. And this is where Pakistan enters the picture. In 1979, Saudi Arabia realized that they had unlimited money but zero military competence. And Pakistan had a battle-hardened military, a brilliant intelligence agency in the ISI, and a desperate need for cash. So it was a match made in geopolitical heaven. And this is where Pakistan hit a gold mine. So to counter Iran, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia launched a secret project called Project 706. In 1972, Boo gathered scientists and bureaucrats in a secret meeting in Mulan where they vowed to develop nuclear weapons. May 1998, Pakistan exploded its first bomb. This covert initiative was called Project 706. In this project, Saudi Arabia financed Pakistan's nuclear weapons program in exchange for an unspoken guarantee. If Iran ever threatened to wipe Riyadh off the map, Pakistan's nuclear umbrella would extend over Saudi Arabia. Now, think about that. Pakistan essentially sold nuclear deterrence as a service to Saudi Arabia. In fact, when the militants took control of the Grand Mosque, while the world thought Saudi Arabia rescued itself, it was actually Pakistan that sent its army did the dirty work, and by mid-1980s, Pakistan had stationed 15,000 to 20,000 active duty soldiers permanently inside Saudi Arabia. Similarly, from 1979 to 1989, Pakistan trained the Mujahideen fighters to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan. And when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait in 1990, Pakistan deployed 11,000 to 13,000 troops to protect the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That is how the Saudi-Pakistan relationship became one of the most powerful alliances in the Muslim world. They were brothers in arms bound by money, faith, and mutual survival. And to make this brotherhood official, on September 17, 2025, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif signed the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement in Riyadh. And the most shocking fact about this agreement was that this pact explicitly states that any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both. So if India attacked Pakistan, it will be considered an attack on the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Similarly, if Iran or anyone else attacks Saudi Arabia, Pakistan is contractually obligated to send its army. Now, do you realize what that means? Saudi Arabia had access to Pakistan's nuclear weapons. In fact, on September 18, 2025, Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Aif went on live TV to confirm it. Defense Minister Khwaja Ace reportedly said that Islamabad's nuclear capabilities could be extended to Riyadh. But you know what, guys? Just 5 months and 11 days later, on 20th of February 2026, US and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury against Iran, and they killed the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and Iran went absolutely crazy. 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead. Iran hitting a large number of US and Israeli military targets in the region after their supreme leader was killed. From March, Iran unleashed hell on Saudi Arabia. Every single day since the 1st of March, missiles have been pouring on Saudi Arabia. Now, what did the agreement with Pakistan say? Aggression against either country is aggression against both. So Pakistan was contractually obligated to come with its army, right? Well, guess what? Pakistan did nothing. In fact, Pakistan's response was limited to a phone call. Yes, their foreign minister Ishaq Dar apparently called. Iran's FM and told him, "Cab, we have a defense pact with Saudi Arabia and the entire world is aware of it. That's it. No fighter jets were scrambled, no naval task forces deployed, and no missiles fired at Iranian launch sites." On top of that, some reports also say that Pakistan even betrayed Iran. You know how? Because according to this report, when all other U.S. allies denied access to their airbase to attack Iran, Pakistan let America use their bases to launch drone attacks against Iran and even provided intelligence for U.S. attacks on Iranian nuclear sites. On top of that, the most ironical discovery I made is that while Pakistan was being paid billions to save Saudi Arabia from Iran, the same Pakistan actually sold nuclear technology blueprints to Iran. Yes, they sold nuclear technology to the enemy of Saudi Arabia while taking billions from Saudi Arabia, and this selling also extended to Libya and North Korea. In the early 2000s, AQ Khan was accused of selling nuclear secrets to Iran, North Korea, and Libya. Mr. Abdul Qadir Khan admitted that he sold nuclear secrets. The investigation has established that many of the reported activities did occur and that these were inevitably initiated at my behest. So Pakistan practically betrayed Iran and Saudi Arabia at the same time, and now they're even attacking Afghanistan, another major conflict in the Middle East. Over 40 civilians have been killed in Afghanistan as they remain at war with Pakistan. Pakistan strikes Afghan hospital in Kabul, which kills 400 people. So now the question is, why didn't Pakistan come to Saudi rescue? Well, there is no straight answer to this, but we have a theory. Firstly, Pakistan is now surrounded by enemies. To the east, they have India. To the northwest, they are in conflict with Afghanistan, and on the west, they have the Baloch fighters who practically want to separate out from Pakistan. So with conflicts on all three sides committing forces to Saudi Arabia may have been a challenge. Secondly, as we all know, Pakistan's political system is so weak that not a single prime minister has completed term, so vote banks are very important to them. Now, if you see Pakistan's population, they have 40 million Shia citizens. They have the second largest Shia community in the world after Iran, and Shia Muslims follow Khomeini. For them, Khomeini wasn't just a foreign leader, he was a spiritual leader. So when he was killed, Pakistan did not just mourn, it exploded. So if Pakistan had sent jets to bomb Iran, it could have caused a civil war in Pakistan. But this begs another question. When Pakistan is such a cunning country, why is nobody invading Pakistan? And think about it. Iraq was invaded for weapons it didn't have. Libya gave up its program and Gaddafi was still killed. But Pakistan sold nuclear weapons to 3 countries, but they still get an IMF loan instead of being sanctioned. Why? Well, that is because Pakistan has built the most terrifying insurance policy in the history of geopolitics, which is a nuclear weapon. As of 2025, Pakistan has 170 nuclear warheads. That makes it the 5th largest nuclear arsenal on Earth, even ahead of UK and France. Now here's the nightmare scenario that keeps every intelligence agency awake at night. If Pakistan collapses, nuclear weapons will fall into the hands of Taliban, ISIS, or Al-Qaeda affiliates operating inside of Pakistan. So a rogue military faction might seize the arsenal during a coup or civil war. And if they start selling this to other countries, soon enough, every other country will have a nuclear weapon. So every time Pakistan is about to go bankrupt, which roughly happens every 10 years, the IMF writes a check. Every time Pakistan sponsors terrorism, America issues a strongly worded document and then sends them more aid. Every time Pakistan plays both sides, the world pretends not to notice. Why? Because a collapsed Pakistan is a nuclear weapon with no security guard. That is how Pakistan turned betrayal into a business model. That's all from my side today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to the like button in order to make YouTube happy. And for more such insightful business and geopolitical case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.